Welcome to This Explainer. I'm honestly so thrilled to have you here today. Look, if you've ever sat through one of those dry, dusty, 8-hour corporate training seminars in some windowless conference room, well, you know that the old way of doing things just isn't cutting it anymore. Today, we're diving into a massive shift in how organizations actually develop their talent. We are unpacking the tech-based training toolkit. We're finally moving away from rigid, one-size-fits-all lectures and stepping into a world where training is driven by computers, mobile devices, and really dynamic software. It's all about making complex learning accessible, highly effective, and, get this, actually engaging. And right out of the gate, I want to highlight one crucial phrase: empowering the modern learner. By getting the right technology in place, we're fundamentally shifting control. We are literally taking the power out of the hands of some distant scheduler and putting it directly into the hands of the employee. We're giving them the ultimate control over when, where, and exactly how they learn. Okay, let's quickly run through our roadmap for today. We'll hit 1, the tech-based training shift. 2, core digital learning methods. 3, social and immersive training. 4, performance support and management. And 5, when to use technology. Let's jump right into section 1, the tech-based training shift. So, to really understand why this shift is so absolutely crucial, we have to look at the core problem facing leaders right now. How do you effectively train a modern, geographically dispersed workforce? I mean, think about today's business landscape. Your team might be spread across different time zones, entirely different countries, or just, working from their living rooms. Flying everyone into a central headquarters for a week of training, that's not just a logistical nightmare, it's incredibly expensive. So the big question is, how do we keep everyone's skills razor sharp without breaking the bank or completely halting productivity? Well, the answer lies right here in the benefits of technology. The sheer brilliance of this tech is how it solves that messy geographical problem, while giving the learning experience a massive upgrade. First up, you get greater learner control and that anywhere, anytime access. An employee can knock out a module on their commute or right between client calls, and naturally, that leads to massively reduced travel costs, which is huge. But it's not just a win for the learner, it is an absolute dream for management. Administration is handled electronically, meaning progress is super easy to monitor. Plus, the tech lets us use really cool immersive simulations that make the training feel incredibly real. Now, to understand how this dynamic environment actually functions, we need to grasp two foundational concepts. We're talking synchronous versus asynchronous collaboration. Synchronous communication is exactly what it sounds like. It's live, real-time interaction between trainers, experts, and learners. Think live webinars or chat Q&As. Asynchronous communication, on the flip side, is on demand. It is non-real-time. Learners access the information or modules whenever they want. A truly dynamic tech-based setup beautifully blends both of these to perfectly fit the learner's specific schedule. Moving right along to Section 2, Core Digital Learning Methods. Now that we get the shift, let's actually crack open the toolkit. We'll start with the Programmed Instruction, or PI loop. This perfectly illustrates how technology acts as a tireless teacher. Instead of just burying a trainee in some massive textbook, the material is broken down into manageable chunks. The system presents a chunk of info and then immediately tests the trainee to see if it's stuck. If the learner gets it and retains the info, boom, they move to the next chunk. But if they don't, no big deal. The system simply loops them back to the original information to try again. It is self-pacing at its absolute finest. Taking that a step further, we run into intelligent tutoring systems, or ITS. And this is where things get really smart. An ITS monitors a trainee's knowledge within a module and actually provides adaptive, customized tutoring based on their specific responses. It effectively mimics a real human tutor. A super relatable example of this from the source material is the Microsoft Excel help tutorials. They figure out what you're struggling with and actively guide you through it. The most advanced forms of ITS will literally learn the best way to teach a specific trainee based on how that person interacts with the system. Pretty wild, right? When we talk about truly interactive multimedia, we have to separate it from those rigid, old-school digital modules we've all painfully clicked through. Good interactive multimedia smoothly integrates text, video, graphics, and sound. Look at the positive factors here. Good IM is self-paced, the trainee controls the order and can dip out anytime. It tests actual judgments and skills, not just robotic memorization. And crucially, the feedback gives you real explanations. The less positive side, that's when you're locked into a predetermined pace, just clicking next, answering simple recall questions, and only being told right or wrong without ever knowing why. Good tech uses the positive column to create something genuinely engaging.
All right, Section 3, Social and Immersive Training.
As we move beyond just basic instruction, we start engaging the learner's peers. And social media tools aren't just for sharing photos of your lunch. They are a massive corporate training asset. They power modern interactive communications and shared workspaces. We're talking about things like Google Docs, where people collaborate in real time, blogs like WordPress, where folks post entries for commentary, and micro-sharing tools like Twitter for quick burst of info. Leveraging these tools helps figure out what training is actually needed, keeps the learning going long after a formal event, and honestly, it's absolutely critical for engaging younger digitally native employees. On the immersive side of things, we have virtual reality. VR is this highly immersive computer simulation that drops the trainee into an electronic environment that looks and feels exactly like their physical workspace. They learn by actually interacting with virtual objects to achieve a goal. It is an absolute game changer for high-stakes jobs where real-world practice might be dangerous or super expensive. But there is a surprising caveat mentioned in the research. Leaders really need to watch out for health issues related to spending too much screen time inside these virtual environments. So moderation is definitely key. Right alongside VR, we have games and simulations, and these completely transform passive listeners into active decision makers. You might see branching stories where trainees get a narrative, make a business decision, and the whole story shifts based on what they chose. There are interactive spreadsheets they can manipulate, actual game-based learning where they basically play a video game, and virtual representations of the job. It brings this awesome level of play and active problem solving that standard lectures just literally cannot match. And the thing that really ties all of this together is mobile technology. Mobile learning is all about bringing the training directly to the employee, wherever they happen to be on the go. Why does this matter? Because learning absolutely shouldn't stop the second you step away from your desk. Mobile tech is such an easy way to push out up-to-date information, and more importantly, it provides that essential follow-up to make sure the training actually transfers into real on-the-job performance. Now for Section 4, Performance Support and Management. It's time to pull back the curtain and look at the administrative backend making all this magic happen. First step, expert systems. These step in when a problem or decision goes beyond an employee's current skill set. It's kind of like having a digital mentor available 24/7. An expert system has three distinct elements. 1, a massive knowledge base of facts and rules provided by actual experts. 2, a decision-making capability that can draw conclusions from that knowledge to solve specific problems. And 3, a user interface to gather input from the employee and hand over the solution. It is a total lifesaver for making sense of complex conditions on the fly. Building right on top of that, we have the EPSS, or Electronic Performance Support System. Think of this as the absolute's ultimate self-help tool. It's an entire electronic infrastructure designed to capture, store, and distribute knowledge across the whole organization. The goal here is simple but incredibly profound. Enhance performance in the fastest time possible with minimal outside support. It includes all the software an employee could possibly need to support their work, going way beyond just 1 or 2 standalone applications. So the crucial point here is that all of this amazing tech needs a central hub, and that is your learning management system, or LMS. The LMS is the centralized command center. It automates the administration, development, and delivery of all your training programs. It tracks literally everything, from initial enrollment and tuition reimbursement to scheduling trainers and assessing employee performance. If you're running a tech-based training initiative, the LMS is your dashboard for tracking regulatory compliance and actually monitoring how much these training tools are being used. And finally, Section 5, when to use technology. As amazing as all these tools are, we really need a framework to make sure we're deploying them for the right reasons. So here is your implementation checklist. Before you roll out virtual reality or a massive new LMS, ask yourself, do we actually have an adequate budget and the resources to support this? Are our trainees geographically dispersed enough that travel costs are a real issue? Crucially, are the trainees actually comfortable with technology? If they aren't, the tech is just going to be a massive barrier. Does this fit our organizational culture? And lastly, do employees have a genuinely difficult time attending traditional sessions? If you're checking these boxes, then the tech is the right fit, and not just some trendy gimmick. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. I want you to look at the systems your workplace uses right now and ask yourself, does your organization's current training toolkit truly empower your modern learners, or is it time to upgrade your approach? The tools to create dynamic, interactive, and highly effective training environments are out there right now. It's really up to us to build the right toolkit. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this totally fascinating topic, and I really encourage you to look at your own learning environments with a fresh, tech-focused perspective.